professionals has been coming to you for almost 10 years. We're going to have a 10-year birthday party. That's always a great birthday party, right? The 10-year-old birthday party. It's the most fun. It's where you bring the cowboy hats and the ponies and the bouncy house. We are going to have a blast when we celebrate this. And it's just been my honor to be the host of this show and bring to you just brilliant, beautiful, wonderful, amazing, and handsome in today's case, guests to you that can help you improve your personal life or grow your business. So thank you for joining us today. And our guest is Andrew Darlow. He is not one, not two, but four-time award-winning author whose passion for photography has driven him to help creators back up their data on their smartphones, on your computer, on your social media. You do not own these platforms. They are just a resource, a fabulous, wonderful tool that we love, but you don't own them. You need to back up your stuff. And this is protecting not only the irreplaceable memories, because, sometimes, as I say often, my memory is just not as young as I look. Sometimes we aren't able to hang on to our memory quite as long as we would like as we get into our golden, amazing years, right? Which won't happen until I'm 160. But, those irreplaceable memories are so valuable, but also what the legacy you're building, the business you're building, the resources that you're building for your family in your, efforts, your really focused planning strategic efforts in your business. You need to protect that information. That content is oh so valuable. All your systems, your processes, your data needs to be backed up in multiple ways, in my opinion. And so what I believe Andrew is doing is such an incredible service for us right now in the present, and for generations of who we love for our future. So thank you for doing what you do, Andrew, and welcome to the show.
Well, thank you, Jessica. And I didn't realize it was your 10th anniversary
It's
coming soon. So
coming. Yes, next year. So
fantastic.
I'm like a giddy child. I'm counting down the days way early to my birthday party and typically to Christmas. So,
Mhm.
those are those are big days for me.
Yeah, that's really something. So congratulations.
Thank you. I love it. And you know what? It could not happen if it were not for you out there. So we love and appreciate the community and the following that we have on all the different platforms that we've been able to share this show. And we have so many more plans for supporting you and what the future of it looks like. So thank you for that. Now, talk to us about your passion in photography and how it kind of led you down this road to realize even though digital pictures are so much easier to share and we can do all these great things with it, and then we printed the old pictures, sometimes they would crumble or turn yellow, or if we used the wrong glue in the scrapbooks that we had damage, you still physically had them, because when they evaporate from the digital world, it is even more devastating, I think, when they turn a bit yellow and they're still in your hand and can maybe be restored by a professional or something. So that's some scary stuff. What led you down this journey?
Well, it started with the fact that my dad was really an semi avid. So, I say there are avid photographers and there's people who, do it primarily to capture their family when they go on trips. My dad was sort of semi avid. So he had cameras, like SLR cameras that shot with slide films. And sometimes he would gather us together and he would put up the screen and the
Oh,
projector
I love
would come out and, he would do slideshows. So that was probably my first entree into the world of photography. And then in high school, I stepped into the dark room. And in the
Mm,
dark room is just magic. Anyone who's seen
mm.
images just appear out of nowhere, it's unbelievable. So I started taking pictures for the school yearbook and the school newspaper. And then in my senior year, I had an opportunity to apply for a scholarship to live and study in Japan for 8 weeks.
Wow.
So I received that. I went off to Japan and I brought along a point and shoot camera. These are definitely the film days,
Mm,
and 30 to 50 rolls of film. And I just started taking pictures whenever I was around, family meals anywhere we went together. And when I got back, I made prints 4x6 doubles, just like we always used to do,
Mhm.
and albums. And when I put them in and I started to talk about my journey and my experience, I realized the power of photography.
Mm,
And now, obviously, there are little publications called Life magazine for 50 years before that, probably, but I really understood the power of it.
mhm,
And then from there, I kept up with photography. I didn't think I could make it my career, but I had an opportunity during college to also go into the dark room and take more pictures. And in my second year of college, I went back to Japan for an entire year. And
mm.
having that experience and then going off during one of our breaks to South Korea and Thailand, it's like the perfect opportunity to just take pictures. And and when you go through like the city of Bangkok and there's this amazing pagoda after pagoda and
Ugh,
smiling people, it's just incredible. And when I got back from that trip, now I had even more to share, which
mhm,
then led to me finishing college. But before I went off into the working world, if you will, I said,
mhm.
well, I'd love to be able to spend some time in Europe. So I found a way. And thanks to my first trip to Japan, I also received a partial scholarship and I was
So
able to study for 4 months in Heidelberg, Germany.
I lived in Germany. I was in Bitburg.
Oh, well, you
For
know,
3 years I was there.
wunderbar.
We were in actually we're outside of the military base because it was a military destination. We were for until the very last year, for 2 of the first years, we were on in a little village right outside the military base because the housing wasn't open on base.
Mhm.
And I loved living in the village and on the economy. And it was Welschbilling. It was the name of our town. Uh,
Nice.
and 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 how the town was, it was this little, I guess, kind of in a valley, and you could see the church and all the little shops and little houses. And then you rode up the hill a little bit, and there was the house that we were renting, and the back garden filled with roses and green grass. Over the rose bushes, you could look down into the village from where
Wow.
our house was located. We were renting a basement apartment from a lovely couple who didn't speak any English, but we would have dinners together and we would play Uno because they knew colors and numbers.
That's great.
And so we
That's
would nod and smile a lot
yes.
and play Uno and eat dinner. And that was
Uh-huh. That's great. Having those stories is just fantastic. And being able to spend time there. And I learned some German, but I was there mostly just to interact with other people. There were people from like 10 different countries right on the floor where I
Mhm,
stayed. And I had that opportunity to then take weekend trips over to Paris. We went on an
mhm.
extended trip to Prague and Hungary.
I
We
went to
also,
Prague, I went to Paris, it was awesome. I got my, international license and drove on the Autobahn. That
wow,
was cool.
I was only a passenger.
I
That's
wish I had the photographs from my trip, and I don't. I don't have any of that. Life
uh,
happened, and,
yes.
there was a great loss of part of the story of me in those images, and that's part of what we're talking about here.
Yes, and because of my trip to Germany and staying there, I was able to then go back with my girlfriend, now my wife, and I was able to go to more places like Italy, and
Mm,
that then led to me being able to make prints of my experiences, and this is what really got me excited about photography, and I'll show you
mm.
one. But this is a print from I have the date on it. It's 1994. So we're talking
Oh,
31 years.
it's a fantastic, Andrew. You're an amazing photographer. That
Well,
is a
thank you.
lovely perception. The perspective of that picture is fantastically done.
Well, thank you. And it was a beautiful time of day, as you can see. And it was
Yeah,
just,
and the light and the sky color and the angle you came in around the statue so that it was in front of, just brilliance. This
oh,
is
thank you.
brilliant.
Thank you. So
I
I
love
was
it.
really excited when I started working a little later, and the company had this amazing printer, and I started giving them these really nice papers, and then the magic really started happening. And so, I mean, I could stop for now, but yeah, feel free to continue.
Yeah, well, then how is that? So, how are you serving clients now? So, your journey, you're just so blessed to have all these amazing experiences and journey through your passion of photography. And now somehow you've landed in this space of really helping families and professionals. And as professionals, we typically
Mhm.
have families, so
Yeah,
helping the professional entrepreneur, business owner, individual um, capture what they need for their business, but also those special and super important family memories.
sure. Well, basically, if we go back to after college, I started working in New York City, and I
Mhm.
had an opportunity because I was making these prints. The company where I was working, I submitted them to the International Center of Photography along with ideas for different classes. It's a school and a number of galleries in New York City,
Mhm.
and they said, "Okay, yeah, let's do it." So I started doing a course to help people make
Mm.
wonderful digital prints, and that started everything that came after that. So I kept working for a company was running a photo studio and teaching, and then I started writing, and then eventually I left the company so that I could go off and help people full time. And
Mm.
so basically what that has looked like for over 20 years is helping people take better photographs, and also
Mhm.
when they often they're taking their photographs and storing them on cards
Mhm.
like this. So but they love the activity of photography. They often don't know what to do when they get back to their computer, so I help them
Mhm.
manage the storage, because most people's laptop is not going to fit, you know
Mhm.
terabytes of information. So they have to choose one or more external hard drives, and there's questions about
Mhm.
that. Then they need a backup, maybe locally in their
Mhm.
home. Then they're going to want a cloud backup. And so it just goes on and on and on. So I help people to manage all that so that it's as painless as possible, and so that they have to do as little as possible, so that
Mm.
they know basically they wake up, they either open their laptop or they turn on their computer and they're backing up. So that's really what
Mm.
I've tried to do as I help them with the creative side, which includes making prints, making books, making
Mm.
online galleries, and making, let's say, small prints for their family and friends. It just goes on and on and on. Once you have your digital images, it's almost endless what you can do with them.
Well, yeah, and I feel like one of the cool things that is in my longer term plan to set up for even just for our family, let alone a possible additional revenue stream, is taking some of the best photos that all of our family has taken, or even art that, because I have very artistic children, that
Mhm.
they've custom drawn and creating a website that does the print on demand on a throw pillow, on a blanket, on a
Yeah.
mug, on a tote bag, on a
Mhm.
t-shirt, so that we can all really enjoy each other's talent and skill. I mean, maybe not necessarily featuring our faces or our children, but
Mhm.
things that we can put publicly facing, and things then we can share behind the scenes and privately order, using the grandkids and our beautiful
Yeah.
children and family photos for things for us personally. But also, like I said, as a revenue stream for the entire family, this
Mhm.
legacy portal of a great way to expand on the art that our family is putting into the world. Because um, like I said, I have a very, very talented family in that space. And so I think that's a great thing for lots of people to do.
I agree, and there's endless opportunities today. The key
Mm.
is speaking with people who are already on those platforms to make sure
Mhm.
that they are, first of all, properly taken care of when maybe
Mhm.
someone has a complaint, or make sure that the quality of the
Yeah,
products
the
is
products are good and things like that. Yeah, a
high
lot of
enough,
research. Mhm.
and all those things. And
Mhm.
once all that is in place, I've been amazed at some of my friends and what they're able to do, and they have tens of thousands of photographs out on there,
Mhm.
earning income for them every single day. So
Mhm.
I haven't gone that way yet, but I am tempted. I'll
Mhm.
say that. I'm definitely tempted.
Well, and it can be so unique. It can even be things like, uh, there's they do the cutouts, the laser cutouts of some of the artistic images or photographs in wood and metal, and
Yeah.
and they even do designs in neon sign
Mhm.
style. Like they can take something you photographed or drawn, and the inspiration can be converted to that. Again, you have to look at.
Mhm.
You probably have to hire a VA or somebody to do some of the back office stuff and manage the
Mhm.
website, and you have to find the right website, the service that will do this, and the right suppliers who will ship it well and make, like you said, use quality materials, for whatever they're printing on, whether you're talking about t-shirt material, the fabric of the pillows or blankets or whatever,
Yeah.
quality of the mugs. It's not all created equal on how they do it and how
Mhm.
it's infused on the glass and different things like that. But what a fun and exciting thing to do with our images that also converts to business, right? That is cool. Now, do you have workshops, or is this all one-on-one that you're doing work for your clients, or how are you serving your customers, and where can they find you if they're thinking, well, yes, I need to back my stuff up?
So for years, I have been doing workshops. I have a number of websites that I've set up for that. But for like since COVID, I've primarily been doing just one on one because
Mm,
I find that I can serve people best as long as it's not, if it's like an outing or something, then it
mm,
makes complete sense to bring a group of people together,
mhm,
like on Eventbrite, for example,
mhm,
or meetup.com. But
mhm,
for other things, the difference between one and two people trying to help them is like night and day. So
mm,
one on one is like so much more powerful because then I can help them with their specific issue and record it so that they can look at it again, usually
mhm.
on Zoom. And it's just a very specific way of helping people, and they get results much faster that way.
That makes sense. That makes sense. So, where would they find you to schedule a discovery call to see if a one-on-one consultation and work with you directly is the next step for them? How do they take that next step?
I would just go to backup.fm, which is the easiest URL I have to remember. And you'll see there an ability to contact me and we'll have a chat. And there's also my newsletter there, which I have. You'll get immediate access to my vault, which has all kinds of fun information. Like, for example, I just put something up there related to networking groups because I believe, regardless of whether you are an avid photographer or someone who's a podcaster, getting into rooms with other people
Hmm.
can often just create magic in so many ways. So that's just one example. But then I have a lot of photography things. I have a sample from one of my books in there. So there's a lot of good stuff there. So I would say look for the contact page and then also look to maybe get on my list.
All right. So backup.fm. So F like future memories, F like future, M like memories, backup future memories, backup.fm is how you're going to find Andrew and get a little time with him and see if taking the next step and working with him so that you can save all that's precious to you in both business and personal life is the way to go. So, give us a tip for today that everybody can use.
Okay, my favorite tip, it kind of is related to some of the things we were speaking about, but if you want to give someone one of the most precious special gifts, and usually it's under $5, but it will feel like $1 million gift to them, make a print. Doesn't matter where you make it, and buy a small frame. Put
Mm,
the print in the frame and give it to someone you care about. And that will be a treasured memory that's often overlooked and so easy to do.
I love that. I love that. That's what I did. So I do something for my kids every year. And for a while, I was going through all the major, my adult children, all the major appliances I felt like they need in their house. One year, they all got blenders with a cookbook and crock pots with a cookbook. And last year, what I did was I found really cool, different styled collage frames, and I printed some pictures, things I saw on their Facebook, things I had from when they were little, like different. I picked kind of a variety of pictures and made little photo collages for each child, for their family as adults, for them to hang in their home. Because, like
Mhm.
you said, we often don't print things, we often don't frame things. And
Yes.
now they all have places of their own, and plate and wall space and places to put these things. So it seemed like a good and cool, kind of a
Mm.
gift to give last year for the holidays. So that's a really great tip.
That's
Okay.
that's great. I love to hear that, and the fact
Yeah.
that I gave a tip and you actually did it just in the last year.
Yeah, I did. I did. True story. Okay, so one of the
Yes.
things, you know how much I love our show. I love our show because of you and because of our guests. But one of the things I also love about our show is, since show number one, we have asked our guests and you out there watching to share with us a cause that's close to your heart. We use technology in so many ways. We should use it for its power of good and spread some awareness, inspire someone to give time, treasure, or talent to the cause you hear about from our guests, to the cause someone might read that you shared in the comments, or just remind someone, oh, yeah, there's that thing I love. Let me reach out and see what it is they need, or if I can give some time, treasure, or talent to them. Because we do get swept up in our lives with all the best intentions often. So, Andrew, what is a cause that is close to your heart?
Okay, the cause that's close to my heart is a New Jersey-based nonprofit called We've Got Friends, and I'll
Oh,
just give the URL while it's right here.
sure.
WGF for We've Got Friends NJ.org. So, what is We've Got Friends? Well, I have a son. He's on the autism spectrum, and
Mm.
they have programs for kids. I think starting at about 5, you'll have to see up until 22. They have
Oh,
programs on Zoom. For example, you can go on together and choose different music that you like. They have other things where they go into rooms and you can play like games together. And then they have live events, almost one a week in different places in New
wow.
Jersey. And it's completely funded by donations.
Hmm.
And you can find out like all the details at the website. But my son has gone, obviously the parents have to go with the child. You can't just leave them there.
Of course.
And that's the best part, is that you meet the other parents
Mm,
and you get to really experience the love that these people have, that they want to bring people together and help them. Because at least with my son, it's not that easy, especially during school. School is not necessarily about helping everyone become more social.
mm,
And although there is that, but for some kids, like my son, it was quite challenging. So this is a
mm.
very relaxed space where they can just play, like they'll play Jenga and they'll
I
have
love that.
throwing games, and they'll just all have different things. Sometimes they have themes. Sometimes I noticed they just had a movie night. So it's just one of these wonderful places that, whether you just want to maybe find out how you can support them, or if you
Mhm,
know someone who has a child on the spectrum
mm,
between those ages, when you go check it out, you just register, and
mm,
then you, on any of the Zooms, you just register in advance and you just hop on
mm.
and you start enjoying all the benefits that they have to offer.
I love that it's a hybrid of virtual as well as in person now, so that, really no one's left out. Because if,
Mhm.
people are having transportation issues, or it's just difficult for them to get away, they don't have to miss it, and then you do have this opportunity for real contact and real humans. And I love that there's support for the family and the parents. So many of the guests we've had in the past have talked about how to support caregivers, because there is a need for that. And I love it when a cause that um, helps people has that component to it. And it sounds like this really does. So thank you for sharing that. And thank you guys out there for putting something in the comments so that we can see and learn about what is important to you also. All right. I'm a bookworm. They're behind me all the time. I'm reading
Mhm.
them. I love them. I have to make sure I stay out of library jail because I like to check out too many books and I never want to give them back.
Yeah.
So I love, love, love books. So, how about a book that inspired your personal life or helped you grow your business, Andrew?
Okay, there are so many, and one of my
Listen.
favorite tools for books is Audible, because I
Mm,
can be walking, I can be taking trips, and
mhm,
I can be learning about so many different things.
mhm,
So I would say one in particular that comes to mind. It's both a business book but also a philosophy book. It's called Think and Grow Rich, which most people have
Mhm.
heard of. And there's different editions of it as time has gone by.
Mm,
And in one of the editions, a, a father, he wanted his son to be able to hear better, and somehow in the intro he found a way through his will and through just working with his son to hear better. It was such an interesting story, and I found it was fascinating that it was in the beginning of a Think and Grow Rich book. But I think
mm,
it's the will
mhm.
to really work toward a goal, and I think that's why they included it. And what I really like about that book is there are time-tested principles and a lot of advice from successful people, and
Yeah,
like don't try to do it by yourself. For example, create your mastermind, and
that's
I
right.
could go on and on and on. So out of the whatever 300 books probably that I've listened to, that one just kind of pops into my head as one that
Yeah,
I would
it's
recommend.
definitely an anchor, and so if it's not been on your list yet, and then or it's been on your shelf for a while and you really haven't read it, it's maybe now. Maybe the universe is telling you maybe now is the time to pick it up. Hey, talking about books, you wrote a book or two and even received awards for that. So let's talk a little bit about your books and what inspired you to write them.
Absolutely. So my first book came after many years of teaching and helping people to make wonderful prints. And then I ended up going to different trade shows and I met
Mhm.
people, including a wonderful person named Harold Johnson, who wrote a book about inkjet printing. And
Mm,
then some years later, he's like, well, our publisher would like another book on inkjet printing. And since
mm,
I was really into it and I was very active online in sort of like Yahoo group. It was Yahoo groups at the time, sort of like Facebook groups today. So
mhm.
he identified me as someone who could potentially do it. And so this was my first book, and it's a 500-page book all about how to make better inkjet prints. And
Very cool.
thanks. The first half are all my tips and photographs, whether it's like model photographs or pictures
Wow.
from like places I've been around the world. I mean, it's not really an art book per se, but they allowed me to put my photographs. Like here's from the Musée du Louvre,
Yeah.
um, and this is from Sedona, Arizona. But in between are a lot of tips and advice for how to make better
Yeah.
inkjet prints, color management, and all that. But I love the fact that they allowed me to share some of my
Yeah.
photographs from many years of capturing images. And more than that,
So
or as exciting as that, there are 14 people who I know and respect who I invited to also provide their tips and photographs and artwork.
ah,
So
cool.
this was like a really wonderful way for me to showcase them and have them share their best advice. And this became like a really great calling card for me and for them. And people still today tell me that they're using it as a reference.
Oh, good. It's, some details that are still valid. You know, usually some of
Yeah,
that technology stuff goes out of date so quickly. It's nice when, because you know, inkjet printers they've changed a little, but a lot of the principles I can imagine will still be applied because they
yeah.
haven't changed that. It's not one of those technologies that's changed that much. You know.
Exactly. And the paper information, the information about how to test so that the color's right,
Mm.
lighting, these are all principles that really are not going to change much.
What else do you have us in the way of books? You wrote four, so
Yeah, so one of them is a book on how to take better pictures of dogs and cats, which I don't have here, but I do have my book Focus and Filter, which is how to
ah,
take better pictures of just about everything, including sunflower fields and Jersey Shore amusement park rides. And
wow.
so this is just an example of something where I show a before and after, or I should say two versions of how you can make one small change on your camera and it will either look blurred in the background or it won't. It will look kind of messed, like all jagged and not nearly as artistic, if you will. So those are the kinds of
Yeah.
tips that I love to share. And there are 50 professional assignments, which means
Ooh.
50 opportunities to challenge yourself to go out and take more pictures.
It was sort of like writing prompts, but photo prompts. I
Yeah,
love that. And
yeah.
and then one final book?
Yes. Just good for your thoughts. Now, when I was doing that book, the publisher said, "You have a lot of pictures of dogs, and our editors think that we could do a hardcover coffee table dog book. Would you be interested?" Yes, I would. So, so yes, I only supplied the photographs, and I did have, the ability to give them my feedback, but it was basically all their amazing design. I just provided the photography, and so
That's
this
too
is
cute.
one: dress too sexy, dress too sexy for your leash, for example. So you can get a lot of good advice from dogs with
That's
this book.
right. That's an and those are nice. Another nice gift idea. Some of those books are great for people in your family. You know, there's only so many months till the big day. I started counting down already. Once we start back to school, it's a rush to the holiday season.
That's for sure.
Yeah, we
Yes,
blink our
yes,
eyes and it's all here. So get ahead of the game. Those are some lovely resources that would be great gifts for lots of different people, for all different time holidays and seasons through the year. So, and just because it's always nice to give a gift just because that's the best kind of gift.
yes. And I'll tell you a story about that book because I gave a copy of that to my mom's friend, and she said when she was going through cancer therapy, some days she could hardly get her head off the pillow, but my book
Mhm.
gave her peace and happiness.
Oh, that's nice. Yeah, sometimes we don't know what to do when, someone we know has a loved one or they themselves are struggling with a health condition. Sometimes just giving the gift of a smile, and that book looks like it's just that, right? And even I mean, I hate to say it, but I really wish you would redo a second edition of the ink picture, the inkjet picture,
Inkjet?
just with just the photographs, and I think it could be its own coffee table book.
Oh,
Just beautiful inspiration and beautiful photographs.
yes.
Uh,
Sometimes I am like, it's almost like analysis paralysis. I have hundreds of thousands of photographs. So it's nice that you said that. It kind of
mm,
makes me feel like, okay, maybe I should focus a little more on my own artwork, which I
mhm.
am doing, but it's like then I get a call from another client. but I have been proactive. I'll show you one particular project that I did, and I created uh, a whole print series of this image. And
Oh,
so that's
cool.
just one example,
I
and
love
my
irises.
yeah, I do too. And
Mhm,
so I love the idea of creating these prints that are both affordable but extremely high quality, and they'll last a
mhm,
long time. And so I use them for a number of different things. Sometimes I give them as gifts. Sometimes I will have special offers. Sometimes I will sell them at events when I'm doing my talk. So it just depends. But I would
mhm,
recommend to anyone, if you want like a really good size to make prints, whether you do them one off at a local store or whatever.
mhm,
18 by 24 inches in the United States is like a magic size because it makes a statement on a wall, but
mm,
anyone can walk into any store pretty much that sells frames and find an
mm.
18 by 24-inch frame. And that
Oh,
to me makes it much easier for people
and
to actually
affordable,
get
yeah.
it on their wall because otherwise it would be a minimum of 100 to
Yeah,
$200
you
to
gotta get
frame
it
something
framed.
at that
Mm.
size. So that's like one of my super tips, if you will.
That is a good tip. That is a very good tip. And mine is for you still to push to find that website that will print that print in on a canvas bag, tote bag for a woman, or a throw pillow, or a shower curtain, or a blanket, or dealing with. I mean, some of that is so beautiful, and those are just the kind of thing they're looking for a theme for a room. Or a feel, and so many people have a love for irises and so much
Yes, yes.
more, so much more we could do.
Yes, I have at least 5 of those, like, in mind because I talk to people who are doing it, so
Mhm,
it's really exciting actually just to have that kind of opportunity. So,
mhm.
yes, thank you for the extra inspiration, Jessica.
It's a 2026 potential goal somewhere in that year.
Yes,
Maybe, maybe. All
yes.
right. So if you're out there thinking, well, wait, I'm an artist, I've got all these other great ideas, I'm an author, I've written a book, I can help someone with their personal life, or I can grow someone's business, I should be on Profound Professionals. Well, come on, reach out to us, let my team know, and we will give you some information on what's required so that you could be a guest on our show too. Andrew, it has been a blast having you as a guest. I hope you've enjoyed it too.
It was absolutely outstanding. I'm like, now you have my mind thinking about all the things that I can be doing with my art. That it's always nice to talk to someone and get that excitement when you're sort of in the middle of it. It's
Mhm.
and you're kind of like helping others. It's just so nice to kind of have a conversation like that. So thank you.
My pleasure. All right. Before we go today and we wrap it up, we're going to get Andrew to share with us a final thought, some information or inspiration as we go. We've been very inspired by lots of your amazing tips and all your beautiful artwork and the brilliance of backing things up. That's very important. Reach out to Andrew. But as we go today, what do you have for us?
Okay, well, there's this interesting concept, and always knew about it, but I think maybe 7, 8 years ago, I really stepped into it more. It's called gratitude, and
Mhm.
essentially, I see it as this idea of spending every day, all day, in appreciation
Mhm.
for being alive, for what we have,
Mhm.
the miracle that we are and that everyone else is. The fact that I am now speaking in front of a computer and sharing my ideas with who knows how many people. It's quite incredible, and it's a miracle, and I believe that the more I keep that at the forefront, the happier I
Mhm.
am,
Yeah.
and the more at peace I am, and the more I can help others. So that's my thought of the day.
I love that. Gratitude is so important. And I feel like when we stay in that space and we have the joy of the gratitude, it just like opens the window and doors wider for even more wonderful things just to arrive into our into our little space of being. So it just really really helps amplify things, even more things to be grateful for, you know. So I love that. All right, everyone out there, I'm your host, Jessica Koch, and this has been another Profound Professionals. And until the next one, be kind to yourself out there and be kind to each other. Bye, everybody.
Bye bye.